Hey everyone, welcome to the Turnkey podcast, where we're pulling back the curtain and shining the light on all the creatives that work with us and some that don't. Our goal is to motivate and inspire, all while providing insight on what really goes on behind the scenes. We're here. How does it feel?
Feels good. I'm ready.
Are you?
Yeah, are you?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of getting used to interviewing people. Obviously, I do this all the time, so I figured this might be the perfect time for me to do it in a more structured way and make this, have people see the stories and stuff, so I figured you'd be the perfect guest for this.
Obviously.
Get all the jitters out that I might have,
Yeah, of course.
Being comfortable. And for the people who may not know, this is my wife.
I am Miss Turnkey.
Miss Turnkey, a.k.a. Sydney Delafuente.
Glitz and Glam by Sydney.
Yeah, that's her. And, why don't you tell people what you do?
I'm a hairdresser.
Hairdresser. Interesting.
Going on 10 years.
That's a long time.
I know. Started when I was 18.
Damn, that's a long time.
That is a long time.
But even before that, I remember we have casual conversation about how you wanted to be a fashion designer way long time ago.
I did. And I was told that you have to know people to be a fashion designer, and it's super hard to get in that industry. So when I decided I want to be a hairdresser, instead of a teacher, because I also wanted to be a teacher, when I decided to be a hairdresser, I loved it because I could express myself and through my clothes with fashion. And so people kind of know who I am. I always knew I didn't want to wear a uniform or slacks or business attire. I could wear whatever I want, like this.
Yeah.
And people can kind of know who I am through fashion.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And then now look at you. You married someone.
I know.
Who
would have known?
Yeah.
Who would have known?
Which I feel like it's always kind of interesting because, you did hair, and even when we met, I would have never thought you would have been because I always knew you as this person that was super into hair.
Mm-hmm.
So then to kind of hear that you were kind of into fashion, it's
yeah, when I was in elementary school, I would always buy journals and pencils, and I would always sketch and draw dresses, shirts, pants, even shoes, everything.
Dang.
Yeah, I always loved it.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's we've even, when we had the other brand, the Delafuente brand, we even collaborated on some stuff, but no one really knew, right? People just, they thought it was just all me, but.
My favorite pants and overalls and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we kind of reworked them and then did them in your way. But then I think then I realized that you and I did really, with your vision and my execution.
Yeah.
We were able to kind of
we put a twist on everything.
Yeah, and kind of create something kind of cool, and I think that. Yeah,
definitely stuff people haven't seen yet.
Yeah, that's true. I think if we do ever decide to bring the brand back, that'd be kind of cool.
Got the ideas flowing and popping already.
Yeah, we do.
When we're ready.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think we're ready yet.
When we get there, though, I'm ready to take on the girls' side of Delafuente.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard you say that.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you I have some ideas.
No, I know, but I've always said, oh, you should, if we ever bring it back, you should probably
I'm just not good at sketching.
No, you don't need to be good at sketching. I always tell the clients here, you don't need a sketch.
But no, I have ideas.
Oh, that's actually good to hear because for the longest time, I've always been oh, if we bring it back, you better, it's going to be all you.
Well, once you're serious and you said that, then I started thinking of stuff I've had envisioned in my mind and stuff I own and how I would change it to make it better or give my twist to it.
Yeah.
And I know once I'll tell you what my idea is, you'll have something better to add to it.
Yeah. That'd be kind of really cool.
Yeah.
What's something that now that you know the behind the scenes stuff, what's something that you feel
I know, but I don't know. There's so much.
Yeah. Yeah, is there anything that you're just man, I would have never thought that it's that complicated to do something?
I literally thought you buy fabric, you cut it out, you sew it yourself. One time, I wanted to start a swimwear line when I was 18, and my friend and I sketched on iPads, and we literally went out to Joann's, bought fabric, and we made our own bikini bottoms. So I thought you just did what I did. Yeah. Have your bikini bottoms, draw it out, cut it, and make bottoms. I thought it was that easy. Yeah. I didn't know you have to go somewhere to get it cut, to get it dyed. I didn't know the whole background of it. I thought you just get it and put it together. Yeah. And so even when I tell my clients now when I'm doing their hair and they ask me kind of what you do behind, I'm like, he does the blueprint of everything. Yeah. That's the best way to describe it. Because there's so much that you do, and I really don't think anyone knows unless you're in the industry.
Yeah, and I remember in the beginning when we first kind of were going, we kind of talked, like when your clients would ask what I do. Yeah. You kind of really couldn't explain.
Sometimes I just give them your Instagram. Yeah. I'm like, check out Turnkey. This is what he does.
But even then, I think it's kind of like.
Or TikTok.
Yeah, or TikTok. But I think if you know the industry or you're interested in it, then you kind of understand what I do. But if not, then like a lot of the stuff doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. When I try to explain you digitizing and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I just say blueprint. You have a picture, whatever, you want to bring it to life. You bring a sample that's somewhat close, and then you take from that and start from there. Yeah. The beginning.
But it's funny because like now that you know what I do, I've also learned kind of like what you do, right? And like, and it's funny because there's certain things that you've told me that, you know, which are certain things that clients do when things happen that I wouldn't know unless, you know, I know this. Like one thing that you told me is like, if a client redoes her hair, like full change, like she changes her look, and she just broke up with someone.
Oh, they're not going back.
They're not going back.
No. Once you change your hair color and you do something drastic or even cut your hair off, that boyfriend's gone.
And then we realized that the guy version of that, the male version of that, is if they get a new car.
I thought you were going to say how you know what I do now because we'll be out in public and you will even be like, oh my God, look at her hair.
No. But that's where I was going with this whole thing. But then I thought about the hair stuff.
You can see it now.
I've slowly picked up on stuff. Yeah. And even with one of the employees where she, you know, what did she do to her hair?
Green.
No, she did the green. No, I don't want to say that. That's a little, it looks cool, you know, but you know, I could pick up, but I could pick up on certain things, or even Jacqueline when she needed her haircut and like, she's like, oh yeah, I have split ends and my hair's really long. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I'm just like, no, I do. Yeah. I was like, yeah. And I for sure understand that your hair's long and like what you need, you know. And it's kind of interesting because over time, you do pick up on all these little things. Yeah. And then I pick up on that. Yeah. Picked up on, what's it called? Ombre? Yeah, right? Yeah. Ombre, like what it's supposed to look like, what it's not supposed to look like.
Yeah, a hombre.
Yeah, a hombre.
It's when it's orange on the ends and you did it at home.
Oh, there you go. What it's not supposed to look like. Because, I mean, for me, or like a lot of people, I think, you probably, or a lot of guys maybe, you don't really know. You just look at hair and you're like, yeah, it looks fine to me, you know, like it looks good. And then you're like, oh no. Look at the split ends, or that it's moved down, or when your roots start growing out, right? And then you're like, oh, you need to do whatever it is that you do to that. So I've learned actually a good amount about hair from just you, which kind of also has, I feel like the importance of who you surround yourself with. Like you could really easily pick up how important it is to hang out with, right? Because just from you hanging out with me, you learn fashion, and just from hanging out and being married to me, and me being married, obviously married to each other, hang out, roommate. Just from that, then I learned so much about hair. Yeah. You know, and like that, everyone has their own craft.
I mean, you're even asking me about a certain curling iron the other day, and I was like, what?
That's exactly what
From a TV show? I was shocked.
Oh, yeah. Because I saw on the Jersey Shore, they had the double, I don't know, the shaft, the curling sticks, but it was like two of them. Yeah. And then, well, I think overall there's just interest in like different types of things, right? Yeah. And like in what you do.
I mean, the amount of curling irons, flat irons, and blow dryers I own, you don't even know.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I stash them at my work.
Yeah, I don't know. And the also thing that I didn't know was that you need a license or a certificate or whatever it is that you have to buy certain curling.
I mean, when I went to school, I had to go for 1,600 hours.
It's crazy.
And I believe now it's down in California, at least. It's different in all states. In California, I think now it's only 1,200. which is crazy if you think about it, because I think cops don't
quote you.
Yeah, don't quote me on this, but I think
Jamie, can you look that up, please?
because where I went to school, it was a community college, so they had people who were training to become cops, and they only went to school, I think, for 600 hours.
That's crazy.
And we had to go to school for 1,600. So we saw people come and go all the time, but we were there 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
But
which do you think, now looking back, now that you think it's necessary to have that many hours of experience? Or do you think, maybe you should, only, I don't know, however many hours you need, and there's certain fundamentals that you need to learn, and then the rest you should just learn in the shop? Or like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, so from the school I went to, it was 5 different levels. And basically your last level, you just learn everything that's going to be on your test that's written and in person, because your test that day is 8 hours long. It's 4 hours written, 4 hours on the doll head or doll hands and stuff. Yeah. And I feel like by level 4, though, you have all the knowledge that you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And level 5, I think it worked out for the school I went to, because I learned the test, and I was the first to graduate and the first to pass the test.
Ms. D.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah.
So I think that was helpful, but most schools don't do that. And I feel like the last level, you already know everything, and you have to do certain amount of stuff on your doll head a day. So let's say I had to do like 2 perms on the doll head that day.
Yeah.
Well, now, since you've been doing it continuously for 10 months, you go through it so fast. So if I didn't learn what was going to be on the test, I would say I would cut it to 4 levels.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But once I went and worked at an actual salon, I learned stuff that you wouldn't even know in beauty school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always different hands-on.
Yeah, and I think it was great to assist for the also 10 months that I did, because you learned so much.
Yeah.
But I wasn't afraid in school. I was definitely the first person to put my name on the walk-in list, because I felt like a doll head's a doll head.
Yeah.
Everyone has different color, texture, and whether you dyed it or you haven't dyed it. And so I always put my name up. So anyone who came in, I would take on, because that's the only way I felt like I was going to learn. And that's why I only assisted for a short amount of time too, because there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
I just felt like you need to be hands-on.
Yeah, without a doubt. Hands-on is always the best way to learn.
Yeah.
With anything.
For sure.
Even if you mess up, I feel like it's always just best to do it hands-on versus
But there's honestly, you're surrounded by other amazing hairstylists, and if you had any questions or anything, I always felt comfortable to ask someone, like, oh, I'm not sure, should I use a level 5 or a level 6 on her roots? And they would give an input. So that's what's nice, is like having great colleagues who will help you.
Yeah. And that's in the beginning, where like, because they know you're new, but then later on they get a little secretive about their stuff, or no, it's not like that?
No, it's not like that.
Oh,
because even now, I mean, if anyone gets a color correction, that's an all-day thing, and if maybe you're second guessing a color or whatever you're going to do on the client, you can just ask your coworker.
Oh, okay.
We're all, I mean, now I'm in a small salon, but we're all pretty close, and like if any of us have questions, we're there.
In the beginning, and the other salon that you worked at, did you feel like it was like a little catty like that, or no? Or like catty or like very, like, these are my secrets, I will never let anyone know?
I mean,
for whatever reason.
My first salon, there was like 50 stylists. It was really busy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so.
How long were you there for?
Oh my God, how long was I there for?
I don't know.
5 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So basically my first half of my career.
Damn.
Yeah. During COVID, we shut down a few times, and then I ended up moving in across the street from a little salon, and the owners were super sweet and nice. And so, I mean, I had to work, and it was nice that I didn't have to drive anywhere and just walk across the street. And I went to the second salon.
And you think for people that are kind of starting out, do you feel like they should start out in a small salon, like where you ended up at, or a bigger one where the pressure's higher?
I don't know.
Right? Because there's.
I don't know. After working in a big salon and switching to a small salon, I love personally working in a smaller salon.
But the skills are different, right? It's like
no.
Like, when you first start out, your skills are minimal, right? And then, so then therefore you're kind of scared and you need to learn, right? And then by the time you exit a certain studio, maybe the first studio, you were like a killer, right? You're like, I know what I'm doing. So then do you think, because you have confidence, so then you can kind of go anywhere. So then you could go solo, right? So then do you, now experiencing all that, in order to become great at what you do you think that you do need to start out somewhere big? Because you did gain some experience there.
So it doesn't really work like that?
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Oh, okay.
When you get out of school, you can go and rent a chair if you want, or you can go somewhere where it's commission, or you can do what I did and I assisted. And I think assisting was the best way to go because I learned a lot in little time. And then since I was in a big salon, I was able to go part-time and rent a chair, and that's getting the walk-ins and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going full-time, I think, after 2 weeks.
Dang.
Yeah. But no, it's just, honestly, it's your preference. If you feel that you're ready, and maybe you just got out of high school like I did and all your friends want to come to you and people in high school, then you could go ahead and rent a chair. Or maybe you just want to work on people and don't have a clientele yet. You can do commission.
What is that?
So basically you work for a salon and they get a percentage. It's generally a huge chunk.
Oh, that's like the stuff the issue that we had when we moved to LA, where every salon was commission.
Yeah. But the reason why they're all commission out here is because the chair rent would be so high, and most salons you pay weekly. Oh. Yeah, that's what a couple of the owners out here told me. Now
that we're doing this whole podcast thing, I always thought that it was interesting that a couple of years ago, you said you had like a dream.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. A dream or a vision, right? Or whatever you
a vision.
A vision. She saw things. That I was speaking in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And now fast forward to, now we're
4 years later.
4 years later, we're up and going. This was the first inaugural episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
And now we're here speaking and talking and doing this whole thing, which I never thought I would be doing.
All these viewers listening and watching.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny that before we thought you had the vision of that, but we didn't know how it would come into this.
Yeah.
And somehow
it came to me this morning. I'm like, wait a second, my vision is coming to life. This is crazy.
Yeah. And then now we're here doing the pod. But I love listening to podcasts, but I never was one to think that I would actually have one.
Yeah.
I always thought maybe, I see myself speaking in front of a crowd, but then I was like, what am I going to say?
So what brought you here?
To the podcast?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that it would be a good idea to showcase and like shine the spotlight on my clients, right? All the creatives that we work with, and then have their story, from beginning to whatever their end is, right?
Yeah.
To the point of like, oh, I'm making it, right? We start with clients because we start with the client, or, like we get new clients. You don't have to be a big guy. You could just be the beginning guy, and we could kind of build off that.
Yeah.
So every single one of my clients, I feel
just so fun to watch and see.
Yeah, and you were just saying that
watch everyone grow. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's like they're all like my babies, right?
They really are.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, let's build you up, and how can we do this? Even if sometimes on some projects, like I take a little bit like of an L, but it's okay because I pay it forward. Like, okay, well, I know it'll come back around in the future, where I'll get that return back.
Yeah.
But I am playing a slower game, I think. And I feel like this podcast would be the perfect way to have people see what really goes on behind the scenes, the ups and the downs, and the things that really you have to deal with when you're developing something.
Boy, is everyone in for some stories.
Yeah. And I feel like people could really see how hard it really is to do this.
Yeah.
And the techniques that you need to have to try to build up a brand. It's not just, everyone wants to do, a bunch of numbers, but it's not that easy to
It's 50% happy, 50% stressed out, all at the same time.
Oh, me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is stressful.
100% grateful.
Yeah. 100% grateful. And then the other 90% grateful, and then 5% stressed out, and 5%.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever. but there's a lot that does happen that people don't understand. So I feel like this podcast would be really good to showcase all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then share the stories, you know, that people want to know.
Yeah.
Of who these designers are, who the creatives are, the people behind certain things, right?
Yeah.
Even, you know, for you, you know, you're my wife, but people that maybe look at your page and look at your Instagram and they're like, oh yeah, this girl cuts hair, you know, she's really good, but they don't really know you besides what you post, right?
Yeah.
And then this could kind of showcase kind of the way you think, the way you talk, and people could see if they actually want to work with you.
I mean, I don't have TikTok, but on Instagram, I do like now that there's all this stuff where you can add your own photo to. It's like, oh, National Share Your Husband Day, post a photo. Because I do like people to see a glimpse of my life, but I don't think everyone needs to see 100% of what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside of work, you know?
Yeah, and I think with the social media stuff, I think it's definitely a balance between sharing enough so that people connect and then keeping something private.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are in an era where people do want to see who you are.
Totally.
Right? There's a bunch of hairstylists.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of manufacturers. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of everything. And the only way to differentiate the one or the other is by yourself, which is kind of weird because then you're like, oh, I'm judging you based on who you are. But at the end of the day, that's all we have now because there's so much of everything.
But I did post, this is the only time I posted about me. I did like a 10 things about me just to show people like what I'm into, what are my hobbies, what I like to do outside of work, like where I want to travel to, whatever it was. Yeah. And I felt like that was the most likes I've ever gotten on a post. Yeah. And I feel like it really brought a lot of insight to people who know me, that I already do their hair, people who want to know me more. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think people will want to connect and be like, okay,
totally.
Well, I want her to do my hair because she seems really cool, which sounds crazy. It's like, oh, I want to work with that person because they seem cool.
So I think I've told you, I have 2 clients. Yeah. I love them to death. And I know I can say their names on here. Their names Doreen and Harper. Oh, yeah. And I've been doing their hair for maybe 7 years or maybe a little longer. And the way they picked me out is when Harper was younger. There's pictures on our website of everyone who worked there, and she chose me. She saw the picture, was like, oh, she's the prettiest one. She's like, I want her to do my hair. And ever since then, her and her mom have been going to me ever since, and they finally just told me the story, and I was like, oh my god, that is so freaking cute. Yeah, she's now 16, living her best life. But yeah, it's been a long time. So there is people who literally point you out, and they're like, I want her.
But it's funny, but it only goes so far.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, I like you because you look cool, you have this cool look. And
see, fashion. People can see through my outfit. And I've had people at the first salon I worked at, because it was so big, and I was just like in the corner, people would see my outfit and they were like, oh, I was hoping that you're going to be the one who's going to do my hair, because it'd be someone new. Yeah. They're like, your outfit's so cute and I love your hair. I'd always get that. Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, you don't want someone to be doing your hair.
You can't trust a stylist with bad hair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you always have to prejudge people based on whatever they look.
Shout out to Mad's Hair for my hair. Got it done Tuesday.
Looks great.
Thanks.
It does look good, actually.
Of course.
We did my hair and it looks a little dark.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, for people to know, the only reason that I even do anything to my hair is because once I left my full-time job working at BMW, I wanted to do something different, right? I've always been so constrained to the BMW job that when I left, I was like, I want something different. So good or bad, right? I was like, I want this.
Well, I said no to platinum hair.
Yeah, I wanted to do platinum hair. I thought it was going to look sick. And then we watched Jersey Shore, and then we saw Pauly D when he had the blonde hair. And you're like, that's what you would look like. I wasn't mad at the look, but I could see why it's probably not the best look.
And now that we've been lightening your hair and stuff, you see how it fades out.
Yeah.
Your hair.
Which is cool for me to understand what you do and fading and how you have to get your hair done a certain amount of time, because now it's like, okay, now I get why women have to go and get their hair done, because then it starts looking crazy. Yeah. And then my ends look crazy.
And with your natural hair color, if it even grew just the teeniest, tiniest bit, and you saw it and you were platinum, you'd want your hair done because it would look black.
That's true. See, so now I understand that more, because you help me with my hair. It's not so boring. Just, I wanted something different, which kind of goes into the whole look, right? If I'm your sewing manufacturer, I feel like I should be in on everything that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So if like whatever the trend is, I should know about it. I should know what everyone's doing, from the youth to the older.
I mean, you're teaching me slang.
Yeah. I mean, because
and you're older than me.
Yeah, it's true. So people don't know I'm 35, so I'm kind of old.
I'm 27.
She's 27, so there's a little bit of a gap, but she was very mature, so we'll leave that there, But overall, I do feel like as whatever you do, like you're a hairstylist or hair doctor, and you should look good, so people are like, oh, well, you look like that, then therefore I know that you're going to get me to look like that, right? Because people want to see the finished, like what the end game is or the end goal is. And if they can see you, then they'd be like, oh, well, I kind of want to look like that too.
Yeah.
Right? But then it only gets you so far, because then you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And so if your work doesn't equal to how good you look, then it's like, yeah, she looks good, but the work kind of sucks. Yeah. So it's just the first step. It's not the last step. It's the first step, but then your work is actually, I'm not just saying that because you're my wife, but also just from what I hear, from what I hear, my understanding of hair, that you are really good at what you do. Yeah. Like really good. Your craft is there. So I could appreciate that, Yeah. Yeah. But it's like, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of our newer friends that we met, she came to the salon on Saturday, and we did deep conditioning treatment and a haircut because her hair is curly, it's dry.
Do I know her?
Yeah.
Who?
The couple that we met at Boomtown.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah, she came on Saturday.
Oh, and that makes sense. Yes. You said that name.
You're like, who is that?
Yeah, no, you literally said the name to me like if I knew who that was, and I was like, okay, yeah.
And cool. She took selfies after, and I reposted it on my page. Not that maybe you
saw.
She
does have curly hair.
Really curly.
Thick, curly hair.
Yeah, and so she was saying how much she loved my hair and she loved her hair at the end, and she was like, all right, so when am I coming back to get my color? And I'm like, whenever you want, just let me know.
That's so
cool. So it went really well, and she loved my hair so much that she was like, I want something like yours. I'm like, okay. See? Yeah.
It has to start from the beginning, but then it's the first step, right? If you tanked on her hair, she'd be like, you can't handle this. Is she Mexican?
Yeah.
Whatever she is. Mexican, thick Mexican.
I specialize in Mexican, Asian hair.
Asian hair.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And lightning. I think the thick, what I learned from you was that you specialize in thick Mexican hair going from dark to light.
Yeah. So that's why like Mexicans and Asians, normally our natural hair color is dark. And it's hard for people to lighten dark hair.
Yeah, same.
But
that's something...
I don't know how I drew in that crowd, but I did, and I learned fast, and I'm like, there's not a lot of people out there who can do it and keep the integrity of the hair as healthy as possible. That's like the number one thing. Yeah. We don't want anyone's hair frying off.
I mean, now I know what that means.
God, it's scary.
Yeah. But now I know what that means. Before it didn't mean much to me, but I understand what happens, because then the ends just kind of fall off a little bit, right?
Yeah, and your hair feels like super gummy, and it's huge no.
Yeah, but moving forward to the same thing is that your skills have to match the look, right?
Yeah.
And then so kind of with this whole thing, same thing with me, right? Remember at some point I was just kind of wearing like kind of really just outdated stuff, right?
Because when I first met you?
No. That time I was wearing I was wearing my own brand, but it was just kind of rock and roll inspired, right?
Yeah.
But that stuff, cool at the time, then became dated now.
Yeah.
Right? And I was still kind of wearing that, and then you were like, no, you should probably dress better for your job, you know? Yeah. And then that's when I kind of made the switch, and I was just like, you know what? I should be looking good.
Totally.
Right?
But I think your style's the best it's ever been.
Yeah, I think so too.
For sure.
Yeah. I think there's definitely been like an evolution of styles.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't see it. Yeah, you don't see it until later on. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
But my last style, because of the brand, it was very rock and rollish.
Yeah.
Which it looked good. At the time, skinny jeans were in.
Super, super skinny.
Yeah, super skinny jeans, leather, you know, a lot of leather.
Yeah.
And I was stuck on that for a good while.
Yeah,
I really didn't know how I was going to switch.
Yeah.
at all, like, to be honest. And it wasn't until real recent that I was like, okay, I think I found how I want to, like, what my transitioning style would be. Because one, you're getting older.
Cue in our wedding photos.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I mean,
tight black skinny jeans.
That's all I had.
It really was.
It was either that
or your nylon black pants.
Black
and
pants.
I was like, no.
Yeah, so we had to go with what I had.
Yeah.
And the skinny
and
jeans.
we kept it simple, but that's all we had at the time.
Yeah.
Or your outfit.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
But I think,
you're going to have to pull it up.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely show it, but yeah, I didn't mind the style, but I definitely got dated, and now it's like, okay, this is a style that I like.
Yeah.
And I think it reflects the work of the studio, right? It's
totally.
Like, and now it reflects the work of the studio because, like, these jeans that I'm wearing now, they're my clients, right? I help them develop it. And so then therefore now I could wear stuff that I've made for them, but just sized for me.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of start adding things and bits from.
You're showing off your workers' work too.
Yeah.
How great everything is.
Yeah. Which is really cool, So I think now I've kind of gone into my era of how I want to dress.
He's in his turnkey era, everybody.
Era, yeah. Definitely my turnkey era.
Mr. T.
Yeah. It's true, but my work has to reflect that too.
Totally.
Like, it has to be the best that it can be.
Yeah.
But I do want to look good, not just like an outdated manufacturer. Like we were saying, like I think in order to continue this business and be profitable and always stay in the know is to always be relevant with everything.
You have to.
Yeah, everything. And that would include hair, that would include fashion, that would include music, that would include basically every single thing that makes up this culture.
And I think it's so cool when people come in and they'll see that you have your music playing, music that's in and hip, just whatever your vibe is that day. Yeah. And then you always have like a fashion show playing on the TV.
Yeah, it's true. So for the people that don't know, there's a TV right behind this, and I usually play fashion background videos.
And in the other room.
And in the other room, we have another room.
Yeah.
And it sounds stupid, but I like to have both TVs playing the same thing. And then have music playing on both of the TVs. I mean, have music playing on both of the sound bars. Yeah. The same type of music. And we had a conversation.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, which sounds really weird, but I always feel like if people walk into the studio, I want them to get a vibe of what the studio, what I'm feeling. Like you said, whatever the music is, because it changes, what the vibe is. And then when you go to the other shop, it's the same vibe. Yeah, exactly. And when it's not, it kind of throws me off. Because last week or 2 weeks ago, I was having this little moment where I was like, our manager was playing like a little bit of his own music. And then I was like, hey, should I feel some type of way about this or not? Because he was playing his music, and there's nothing against that. No. But I just felt like
yours is more hip, let's just say.
Yeah.
And my first thing is like, if you go into a Starbucks is going to play their music. Yeah. And it's going to be playing everywhere. So you have to have your music playing everywhere. You can't have two different songs playing. Yeah. Even if it's just around the corner.
Yeah. But you helped me realize that, because I just didn't understand why I was kind of feeling whatever way about it. Yeah. But I was. And then I was like, I need these both to be the same. Yeah. Because I really do want to get away from the stigma of what a manufacturer is, right? Everyone thinks that just because you're a manufacturer, it needs to look, like dirty, like a sweatshop. Yeah. And it gets hot in here sometimes, but it doesn't need to be at sweatshop conditions. It doesn't need to be ugly.
It's fun in here.
Yeah, and I think that's really the goal.
And people look forward to coming in here.
Yeah, because I feel like if you feel inspired, right, when you're sitting down, then you know that, and I'm interested, and then you feel like I'm inspired by your work, then you know I'm going to do a good job. Yeah. Right, so I
feel like a lot of people, as soon as they come in and they talk with you and they feel the vibe around here, that they connect really well. Yeah. Like you automatically feel like you've been friends.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's how it is doing hair. Once I have my client in my chair, and even if it's a haircut, it's for an hour, and we just make this like bond and we connect, and I feel like they're my friends. They're all my friends.
Yeah. And then they end up becoming your friends.
Yeah, they end up becoming my friends. Like my best friend currently, she was a walk-in. Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah.
Chelsea, yeah.
She was a walk-in, and then she thought I was older than her. And I don't know, we just became close.
Yeah. And that's how it is too. You know, you just kind of relate people that have similar interests.
Well, all my clients, like we all kind of talk about our lives.
Yeah.
So I know everything about their life and stuff. And yeah, I feel like because Chelsea and I are the same age that we just have a lot in common and we're both pretty free spirits.
Free spirit. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how it usually happens. You know, at first they're your clients and then they become friends.
Yeah.
And then the friends that you had in high school or whatever time, you start to stop hanging out with them because there's interest change and your life changes. Or you move.
Yeah. And I definitely have a few clients that I feel like they're family.
Yeah. That's how I feel too. Yeah. Like a lot of my clients have become friends.
Totally.
You know. So,
and that's what's cool about our job.
Yeah.
You know, like since we're extroverts, it's easy for us to talk to anyone. And I feel like we're just so open to making friends and stuff too. It's just, I don't know. It's so cool.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like they're all my friends.
Dang.
Yeah.
You think I'm an extrovert?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you talk a lot.
Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't consider, I wouldn't, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't think about it like, oh, I'm an extrovert and I talk. But I don't talk to just anyone. So that's where I feel like I'm not. Oh. Because I won't pick up a conversation with just you in an elevator. That's why I feel like I'm not an extrovert like that. Right? Where if you're in an elevator with me, I won't just spark conversation just to be nice. I feel like you will. You're like, hey, how's it going? And for me, I'm like,
I think, for example, when we were talking about with my aunt and her partner, how if we were to go on a plane, would you talk to someone next to you? I would.
Yeah.
No. And I, like, before we were together and I traveled by myself to visit family, like in Sacramento and stuff, I always talk to the person next to me.
See? And that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't feel like I have all the extrovert, things where you do have pickup conversations and I don't. Like, I have to have a reason. When people come here, we have conversations about this. Yeah. And I could really easily, keep it going. But unless there's something there for me to pick up conversation, then I won't.
But I feel like we're very easy to talk to. And we can keep conversations going and stuff.
If it's about what we want to talk about. Yeah. That's where I feel like
when you're with your clients and your workers, I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. But see, it's because it's about
work.
Yeah. So I think that's where I'm like, 50% intro, 50% extrovert.
Maybe like 70% extrovert, 30% intro.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I mean, this was fun.
It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
Yeah, it's been real fun. I mean, I'm glad that I got to do the first episode with you.
I know. It feels
special. We got all the jitters out, everything, One thing is to actually, to conceptualize the thought that you're going to be making a podcast. Mm-hmm. And it's another thing when you actually sit down, and then have the cameras all here looking at you and then actually going in to do it.
It's definitely been really fun to watch you grow and see you succeed in everything that you've been doing. And now that you're starting this, I know it's going to be big and it's a big future.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, and then we'll check in with you in like 6 months, and then you could tell the updated version of what's going on after 6 months. Let people know all the changes that we've been through. Yeah, this is episode 01. And not only that are we only thankful for this, but also because when you come to the studio, our street is a little crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And man, they play music like no other. And I tell everyone when you visit the studio, be careful for the people outside. Not because they're dangerous, but just because they're very pushy.
Yeah, they're super
But
pushy.
The biggest blessing is that they didn't play music because they bump. You have no idea. They're so loud.
We got so lucky.
Yeah, because it's the electronics district, so they bump all day. And we've been recording now for some time, and man, it's been quiet.
Oh yeah.
So, one song. So it's been a blessing. Yeah. The dogs are calm, so this whole episode worked out super perfect.
Got the fur babies.
Got the fur babies here. And that pretty much wraps up episode 01 of the Turnkey Pod. So
peace.
Till next time, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.